Farmer Amy. I'm here with Dot today, and we are super excited to have you joining us. We haven't been able to have a tour in a while, so this is a lot of fun, and we're just really excited to get started. So I wanted to start off this whole thing by talking a little bit about the history of our farm and my family. So our farm is about 135 years old. My great-great-grandpa started it when he came over from Germany. And when it started, it, like a lot of farms at that time, was just kind of a hodgepodge of different livestock animals. And as we've gone through the years, it's become more specialized. So today, we're milking about 50 dairy cows, which means that we have about 100 cows total on farm, from our littlest babies to our oldest cow. We do not have any other livestock, but we have a horde of cats and a dog. And so, yeah, that's where we're at today. I work with my dad and my brother here on the dairy. So, like I said, my name is Amy. I've been home from college for 4 years, and my main job here is to take care of the cows and milk them. And my dad is the same. He takes care of the cows, milks them, day-to-day activities with the actual milk cows. My brother's job is to raise all the crops that our cows eat. So he's in the fields getting our crops grown, getting them harvested, getting hay done, and we help him out when he needs it. And he makes sure that our nutrition is right for the cows, and he feeds the milking herd. It's a passion for all of us.
So these are our cow hutches, and this week we're going to talk about our baby calves. So after our calves are born, they come out here and they each have their own individual hutch with some nice fluffy bedding inside, and they can come outside. And they're separated so that when they're young and have very vulnerable immune systems, they're not going to get diseases from each other, and also so that we can give them specialized care and know exactly what they need. So for the first 6 weeks of their lives, they're going to get either 2 or 3 quarts of milk depending on their age. They'll get those twice a day, and they will also have feed and water available. So this is a sweet feed. It's got sweetener in it for the little babies. And at 6 weeks, we will start weaning them. And so when they're 2 months old, they will be weaned off of milk, and they will be eating a grain mix that has some corn and pellet in it. And this is kind of similar to what they'll be eating for the rest of their life. So when these calves are weaned, they'll stay here till they're about 3 months of age, at what point they're going to move and be in groups together. And so the rest of their life they're going to spend together in groups with other cows.
So we talked a little bit about what our calves eat, and that grain mix is very similar up until the time that they join the milking herd, except that they also will get hay and sometimes silage, which we'll talk about in a minute. So all of our cows have diets that are formulated by a nutritionist. So she makes sure that all of our cows have the right amounts of feed, the correct ratio of feed, so that they can be healthy, especially the milking herd, because they are producing milk, so their body needs an extra special diet. So what we have here is what a cow would eat in a day. Each of these 5 things lined up here is in the correct amount for what a cow would eat in a day. And then down here we have a sample of it all mixed together. This is called TMR, or a total mixed ration. So this is like a salad or a casserole. The reason we do that is because cows, like us sometimes, are picky, and they may want to eat a lot of something that tastes really good, but not a lot of something else that isn't as tasty but is very necessary for them to be healthy. So we mix it together. So we'll start down here. This is our corn. We grind it up. And then we have the concentrate pellets. So this pellet is made for us by the feed company, and it encompasses everything else that our cows need to have a complete diet that we don't grow on the farm, because the rest of these feeds we produce ourselves. This is baleage. This is like a wet hay. And these last 2 items here are a silage. So this is corn and sorghum silage, and what it is, you take the whole plant and you chop all of it up, the grains, the stalks, and everything, because cows really need fiber in their diet. So that's why we have to have these, the baleage and the silage, so that they get enough fiber in their diets. As little calves, they don't need that, but as they grow up and get older, they do. So because they eat all of that feed, they also have to drink a lot of water. So these 7 buckets represent 35 gallons of water, which is about how much a cow will drink in a day. She may drink even more if it's a hot day out. So they drink lots of water. We have to make sure it's available all the time. And then to switch back over, here is our mixer wagon behind me. This is what my brother mixes all of our feed in. So all of these things components are put together inside that big mixer, and knives cut up the feed, the forages, and mix it all together to make that salad mixture.
I was talking about the history of our farm. So this oldest part of the barn right here, this would have been where my great-grandpa and maybe even my great-grandpa did some of their milking. There's some old stanchions that would help hold the cow still inside there, and a pen. And then this middle section here that's a different height, this is the part that my grandpa built, and this is where he milked the cows. And then we can see there's yet another section that looks a little bit different, and this is the part that my dad built. And so we still are using part of the barn that my grandpa built for the actual milking process, but all of the cows are coming into this new parlor. So I just wanted to stop and touch on that, because I just think it's so cool that we can see a whole row of history of dairy farming. This is a double 4 herringbone is what it's called. And what that means is that I can have 4 cows on each side for a total of 8 cows. So this is where Dot's mom gets milked. She's giving about 11 gallons a day, which is above average. So she's doing really good. So what Dot's mom is going to do when she's ready to be milked is everyone will be in a pen outside, and she'll come in with her group whenever she's ready. And the first thing that we're going to do is wipe off her teats. And what we're doing is just getting some excess dirt off, and we'll strip some milk out. So what that means is I'm going to hand milk a little bit of milk out. And the reason that I do this, I have 2 reasons. So the first is that tells her body it's time to let the milk out, because the milk's already in her udder, but it kind of holds it up inside until she's ready. That way it's not, dripping out or making her uncomfortable. So that just tells her it's time to release my milk. The other reason is that sometimes if a cow is sick or if she has something going on, you may be able to see that in the milk, and that can tell us if she needs it or not use that milk for human consumption. So it's just a check for us, and since it's every day, twice a day, it's a really good indicator that we can very consistently keep track of how they're doing by doing that. So once we have stripped her and wiped her off, then we're going to dip her. So I'd wipe her teats off with a towel, and then she's ready to start milking. So these are our milkers. I'll see if I can get as close as I can here. So this black part runs all the way through the blue casing. So this is the part that actually kind of gets the milk out of the cow. So there's one for each teat. Cows have 4 teats. And we'll put this on her. And how it works is there's a vacuum, which I don't know how many of you may or may not know what a vacuum is, but for simplicity, it creates suction, kind of like a vacuum cleaner, I guess you could say. So the suction helps it to stay on her teats because it's just hanging there upside down. And between this rubber and this casing, it alternates between being a vacuum and not. And what that does is it causes this inflation to squeeze in and release. So what that's going to look like for her is, if this is her teat, then it's going to be going like this. And what that does is it makes it more of a gentle, relaxing, massaging motion of getting the milk out, which makes it much safer and better for her than if it was just constantly taking the milk out. And so we put that on her, and it'll take about 5 minutes for her to milk out. And while that side is getting milked, I can work on the other side, and then we'll put another dip on. And this is a post dip. This would be kind of like lotion for her skin. It just makes sure that her skin stays nice and smooth, doesn't get cracked or dry. It's especially important in winter. And then it also creates kind of a barrier to keep the bacteria out. Excuse me. So once the milk comes out, it's going to come through the pipelines. And if you can see here at the other end, we have a jar, and it will collect here until it reaches a certain point at which it's going to pump, and it will go through this little box. I know you guys can't see very well, but there's a lot of little plates, and what it does is it has cool water on one side and warm milk on the other. So milk comes out of cows at about 101 degrees, and that's because cows' body temperature is about 101. That's why they like it to be cool outside. It's pretty warm out for them today. And so you guys know that we don't drink warm milk. So this helps our machinery not have to work so hard. It naturally pulls some heat out, and then we get to reuse that water. We send it outside, and the cows have it right outside. They can drink it as they're leaving. And of course, they have other water sources available, but it's just the way we can reuse that water because it's clean and there's no reason to let it go to waste.
This is the Prestall Barn. This is where our cows spend a large portion of their day. Our cows spend about 60% of their day resting, so that's about 14 hours. The rest of their day would be spent eating, drinking, kind of walking around, and being in the milk barn. So they spend a lot of time resting, and it's important that they have somewhere comfortable. So this sand helps keep them clean and dry. Doesn't let bacteria grow like organic material would. And then we also have fans up above that help keep them cool in the summer. And we have the option to kind of close things up a little bit more in the winter to keep the wind out so it stays nice and warm.